What should you do if someday someone shows up at your house demanding you surrender your firearms? The first things first, you have to understand your enemy. So we got to go back a little bit. Alright, so most of our parents, when they were growing up, their parents were like, get a haircut and get a real job. And that's what they did. They went to trade school. They learned valuable skills like welding, truck driving, stuff like that. These are the people that build America. They build your skyscrapers. They haul your freight. They drive your trains. And then there was the other people.
I want to dance.
Now, typically, these people turned into that uncle that isn't allowed over at your Christmas dinners anymore because, one, you're tired of him hearing him complain about not getting his welfare checks on time. Two, he got busted selling weed to your 16-year-old brother. Well, there's that, too. But a few of them, Mark Zuckerberg, some of those people, they actually made it. They discovered they loved video games, stuff like that, and they built their industry and their backbone off of technology. Facebook, YouTube, Google, stuff like that. They really, really thrived. We kind of dropped the ball on that because our parents are like, quit screwing around with these video games and watching TV all the time. Get some work done. And that's what we did. We wrote it off as a child's play thing, something to that effect.
But on the other hand, man, I just as soon keep working. Keep a little change in my pocket.
Yeah, wait.
Rather than spend my time listening to some dipshit who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about anyway.
Really divided where political views are. On the technology side of things, they're usually libertarian, liberal, over there. Then on the actual work side of things, they're typically conservatives, because that's just how we were raised. You think libertarians send their kids off to the military to possibly die for their country? No. Conservatives do. Libertarians have their kids go on the street and protest guns. Why would they put them in a place where they're literally obligated to use them? So that's basically where most of our split comes. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's just a simplification. Now, getting back to the question, what should I do if somebody shows up to my house demanding I surrender my firearms? Well, first off, the odds of that happening are insanely unlikely. Because, conservatives, they actually like guns and stuff. They're more likely to be police officers, soldiers, stuff like that. The only way they could rally enough people to be able to pull off some sort of that move is if they involve the American military. And how well do you think that's going to go? Let me just put the situation into perspective for you. I'm Sergeant whatever. Phone rings, what, Mom? They did what to Dad? And they shot our dog too? I don't care if you bit anyone. They shouldn't have been there in the first place. So a lot of you have been telling me about disturbing phone calls and images you've been seeing on the internet and asking how I feel about it. Our fears have been confirmed. There are, in fact, military forces operating on American soil against American citizens. Now, I don't know about you, but I took an oath. I will protect this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Whatever one of you don't want to join me, you will not be judged. You can stay here. Anyone that does join me, you will probably be losing your job. You will probably be considered treasonous. But load the C-130 with beans and bullets. I'm going to go talk to the colonel and see where he stands in all of this. If I don't make it back, I have included a map of the tactical strategic places we need to take. Munition plants, ports, stuff like that. And so that's basically what would happen if they actually invited military forces to go against the American citizens. Yes, they own most of the ports, California, New York, stuff like that. Florida, it's kind of wishy-washy. We're really losing the battle there. And that really sucks because that will totally be able to harass the port in Texas. But anybody that's strategic at all will see that we have the backbone of manufacturing. We have the Texas oil fields. It just wouldn't happen. But say it does. Say they're like, oh, hey, China, we want to go to a socialist structure here. We can't do it on our own. We need you to come in and help us, blah, 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 blah. If they actually did, show up at your house asking you to surrender firearms, it will be in your best interest to be like, yes, sir. Obviously, don't help them fight them all, but surrender them. You don't fight on your doorstep. Yes, if you have medical problems to where you can't be mobile, that's a different story. Just know you're not going to win that battle. They have unlimited resources if it's to that point. They'll just hit and hit and hit and hit and hit until they come through. But say you are physically able to move. Be cooperative. Turn them over. And just think in your head, as soon as I catch one of your officers slipping, I'm going to have his firearm anyways. And I'm going to probably play it from here from this point, but if I always wanted to drive a tank, it's been on my bucket list. If I catch one of your tank operators slipping, I'm going to take that bad boy for a spin. Will it get to the point where they have that happen? I don't know. Every time they make a move, it just makes me trust them that much less in their ability to think. Like, for example, the bank thing, going against firearms. They think this is some sort of big win. Are you kidding me? Take firearms out of the equation. Let's say Chevy made $1 billion tax-deductible donation to Bank of America that, hey, from now on, if anybody tries to get a loan for a Ford or any other vehicle other than Chevy, you will deny them. And if you can prove, or they do have an existing loan for anything else other than a Chevy, I want their interest rates to be the maximum legal level. It's the same exact thing. And it could be for other things too. Remember, the Federal Reserve is not government run. That's a private organization. They can be manipulated just as well. Say they were like, oh, hey, anybody that has blonde hair, from now on, they're no longer to borrow money. You know how hard it would be to get a business going or establish a family or get a house without being able to borrow money and having to pay cash for everything? That's a pretty big deal. And they're okay with this. They're like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Banks aren't going to let firearm owners or gun manufacturers use their banks anymore. There should be rioting in the street. Like, what? You can't do that. You can't have a bank get politically involved. It's consolidating power. The power needs to stay in the people for our society to function and continue on the way it has for the past 200 years. You start moving that power into a smaller and smaller and smaller spot, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You're allowing someone to come in. They wouldn't even have to be voted in if all the power was in one spot, because once you get in that spot, there's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Cry about it on YouTube? Oh, YouTube censored. There's nothing you can do. They just walk in, take the position.
Game over, man. It's game over.
And a lot of the political split comes from simply the way we're wired. For example, conservatives, we trust our neighbors. We feel that us and our neighbors can all work together to make a better tomorrow. Usually leftists, libertarians, I shouldn't say libertarians, because they're not really libertarians. They're liberals, but it's so hard to explain to people that there's a difference, so I usually just call them leftists. The leftists, they look at themselves that they are somehow intellectually superior with the average person, and that if they don't take charge and change and mold society into the way they see fit, that average person can kill them. Because,
But with advances in modern science, my high level of income, it's not crazy to think I can't live to be 245, maybe 300.
That's all I need is some hillbilly with a gun to actually come along and end that dream for me. They feel that they are changing things for the greater good, and they truly believe they are. That's why you can't debate with them politically. You just can't. It's like trying to debate with me that, hey, you shouldn't trust other people. My whole upbringing and me being in this position right now is because I've trusted other people. We've all worked together. It's teamwork. They're more isolated, but that goes back to like the video games, stuff like that. And that's how they're actually recruiting a lot of people straight out of high school going into college. If you'd went back to me at that point in time, I don't know what choice I would have made. But they're like, you can go this way and have guns, which you've never even shot one before in your life, or you can go this way and have legal marijuana. Tell that to most high school kids and like, let's party. Not saying I didn't party, but that's not the point. The point is that's how they hook them. That's why typically as people get older, they switch to conservative because they just look at it and they're like, yeah, I've never, ever seen anybody smoking pot in a socialist breadline. They're broke. They're starving. And this whole dream right here is never going to happen using a socialist model. The only way it could happen of legal marijuana is on a conservative model. It's because the people have to have money to buy things. If the government's just issuing them things, one of the last things a person's going to care about is marijuana. They're going to be like, I need to feed my family and I need a roof over my head. But that's how I feel on the whole topic. Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there, but some videos are just necessary for it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.